everyone. Hope you are keeping well. This is Israr Khan. Today, I like to discuss with you the concept of goal setting because in day-to-day life, every one of us passes through situations and circumstances when we need to decide what to be done in life. And when we decide what to be done in life, the concept of goal setting kicks in. But at times, what happens, we set up goals so mechanically or technically that we almost tend to forget or tend to ignore the essentials involved in this. When I say essentials involved in this, because it is seen most of the time we set up goals either in terms of money, power, status, or other material things in life. And it is most often seen that when things are changing at such a faster pace, there could be circumstances that the materialistic goal which we had envisaged in the beginning, the underlying concepts or underlying assumptions on which we had set up those goals, they themselves become redundant. So what should be done? So to overcome this, I'll refer to one of the quote from a Canadian psychologist and author who has done great work in this field, Mr. Jordan Peterson. He talks about that we should set up goals not in terms of money, power, or status, but we should set up goals which are process oriented. When we say one is end oriented and one is process oriented, the goals in terms of money, power, these are most of the end oriented, what we get in the end. But when we talk of process oriented, it talks about what process we involve and what we get in the process of going through that. So when we talk about process, we talk about developing our character in the process, our abilities in the process, developing attitude, competence, capabilities, instead of just setting up goals in terms of materialistic things like money, power, or status. It is often seen when these things are not achieved, most of the time they are a cause of stress builder. But if we had followed the approach of strengthening our character in the process, even if things are not achieved, our character is built up in the meantime. We have developed that attitude of facing the adverse in the life. I'd like to bring to your attention that how the character is assessed. When in Australian Marine Corps, people are selected for Naval SEAL, they don't take a person who has never failed in life. They take a person who has seen, faced, handled adversities, failures, and overcome them. That builds up our character, that builds up our abilities and competence. So when we set up our goals, these are the things which we need to keep in mind. Another aspect In goal setting, which I would like to discuss with you all, the concept of relationships. When we say relationship, Mr. Jim Selman, who is author of Living in the Real Time World, he says he can play a game of high achievers wherein you will say, I'll achieve this, I'll do this, or I'll do that. Or we can see ourselves vis-a-vis this world in terms of our relationship with this around. When we say relationships, what is our relationship with ourselves? What is our relationship with you all or others? What is our relationship with the time? What is our relationship with the mood or emotions? So this aspect talks about developing innate abilities and capabilities. So even if we don't achieve what we are invested, we develop these innate abilities in our life, which will help us in navigating the contours of the life. Another important aspect which Mr. Jim Selman talks in this book, he says there are two approaches of setting up the goals or approaching the future. One approach is a predictable future, and another approach is a possible future. Predictable future is driven out of our past experiences, based upon which we can predict what is likely to happen and what is not likely to happen. It doesn't explore what else can be done other than whatever prediction can be done. It's a very limited or narrow sort of approach. Another wider approach, which explores the future, is called possible future approach. So what are the possibilities which lie for us in the future? We are not restricted or limited what was our past. We are not bound by that. We just explore what are the possibilities which lie us, which are there in the future. So we can develop wider range of options and liberate ourselves from the limitations which we have in the form of our past. So while setting up the goals, try what are the possibilities in the future and explore it. Another things which I like to draw attention to, when we set up goals, so involve yourself fully, take all factors available into account. But once you set up the goals, just free yourself emotionally from it. What is the basic mistakes which most of us commit? I have been victim of it myself. That we start treating like our babies. We are so much emotionally involved, engrossed in such things or such goals that we lose sight of objectivity in the entire process. Sometimes we keep putting our resources, our time, money in losing games. What we call it escalation or commitment. At times it is seen, especially the people who are considered to more gritty, that they don't want to take tag of failure or rethinking or revising their goals, because they treat this as a sign of weakness. But reviewing, rethinking, redefining our own goals is not sign of weakness, it's sign of strength, because we are willing to reassess ourselves, reassess our goals, take a stock of the situation, and move ahead what is needed and what is not needed. We call it sometimes IKEA effect, that when we do things ourselves, we are so much emotionally involved in those things that we try to overlook the demerits and other parts of it. So when it comes, we should be able to emotionally detach ourselves after setting up the goals. So we call it attached and detached approach. You are attached when you set up, you detach once you set up and take objective situation. And after objective assessment, if we need to redefine, if we need to review, we should be able to do that. I like to just share with you all one dialogue I had, I think most probably Three Idiots, wherein Mr. Amir Khan says कि बच्चे कामयाबी के पीछे मत भागो, काबिल बनो. What he essentially says, that develop your innate abilities, capabilities, competencies instead of just chasing success in monetary terms or other materialistic terms. So, setting up goals, as everyone says, is important, but we should not be afraid of reviewing the things. With this, I like to take your leave. We'll meet you next time to discuss some other important topic. Till then, Jai Hind. Thank you.